Hey friends! Today I'm gonna show you the SSL Mixer in Reason 6. This is a mixer modeled after the legendary SSL 9000K mixing console. Alright, let's begin. The first thing you should know is that the signal flow of all audio goes from the top to the bottom of the mixer. The first thing you can adjust is the gain of the audio signal that reaches the mixer. Then we have these buttons here, which changes the signal routing inside the mixer. And you can see the signal flow in this little window here. The default routing is as the mixer is laid out, which you can see here is first the dynamics section, then the EQ section, and lastly the insert effects. The dynamics section is composed of a compressor and a gate. The gate can also be switched into an expander mode with the button here. The compressor is used to tame the sound by compressing the dynamics. If you use the fast and peak buttons, it behaves more like a limiter. A gate is used to cut the sound as it goes down to a certain level. This is mostly used to get rid of the noise between the words in a vocal recording, for example. An expander acts as the opposite of a compressor. It increases the dynamics of a sound. Short explanation. Dynamics are the difference between the loudest and the weakest part of a sound. The most important control of both a compressor and a gate is the threshold knob. The threshold defines when the compressor or gate will be switched on. The ratio knob of a compressor defines how much the sound will be compressed. And the release is the time until it stops compressing the sound. For the gate, this range button defines how much the sound will be turned down. The release is the time it takes for the gate to fully close. And this hold button is much like a pre-delay in reverb. It sets the time before the gate starts acting. Then we have the EQ section. It starts with the low pass and high pass filters. When you mix your tracks, you should use these filters as much as you can. A common technique is to use the high pass filter on all channels except the kick drum and the bass. This is a great way of clearing up the low end of the mix. Then we have the actual EQ section. There are 4 bands in the EQ section. The top and the bottom band are shelving EQs, and the 2 middle are bell EQs. They are named this way because the EQ curve looks like either a shelf or a bell. Both the top and the bottom EQ can also be switched into bell mode. The 2 middle EQs also have a Q parameter. Q defines the width of the frequency range you either boost or cut. The lower the value of Q is, the wider the frequency range is. And a Q level of 1 equals 1 octave. A Q level of a half equals 2 octaves. And a Q level of 2 equals half an octave. Then we have the insert effects section. An insert effect is an effect device that is added into the signal chain of the mixer channel. You can actually have as many insert effects as you want, and they will act like one big effect chain which will then be routed back into the mixer channel. Then we have the send effects. You have 8 send effect slots in the SSL mixer. They are different from the insert effects in that they are shared between all mixer channels. This means that they will get feeds of audio from several mixer channels. These level knobs sets how much you want to feed into each send effect. And each feed is basically a copy of the channel's original sound. These buttons here switches on the feeds to the send effects. And these little buttons named pre is short for pre-fader. And it means that the send effect will receive the audio before the fader of the channel. Lastly, we have the fader section. And of course we have the actual fader of the channel, the solo and mute buttons, and the pan control. But I can really recommend this little knob here, which controls the stereo width of the channel. To get a clear mix, some sounds must be thinner than others. And apart from filters and EQ, the stereo width can control how fat or thin a sound is. And that was the channel strip of the SSL Mixer in Reason 6. I want to finish with mentioning the master bus compressor in the SSL Mixer. This is a compressor that works on the whole mix. It has a legendary good sound to it, and many producers, including myself, use it mostly to color the sound of the mix. By this I mean that I don't compress hard with this compressor. I prefer to have the needle peaking at 3 or 4 dB. And this is certainly enough to get the character of the SSL Master Bus Compressor. Alright, that's it for today. Support me by liking and favorizing this video. I'll see you next time. And remember, you rock, my friends! Remember to like and subscribe!